Lady K.
Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that is designed for men and women to become better versions of themselves, which is broadcast every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Various subjects will be spoken upon, such as relationships, health and wellness, personal development, wealth building, children, and so much more. She is a two-time Amazon best-selling author, an international speaker, and life coach. She is Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Lady K Chat podcast. You are with your favorite host, Lady K, and it is a pleasure that you are spending this Tuesday evening with me. So before we get started, everyone, I just want to tell you a little bit that today's show is being sponsored by Lady K Enterprises, which they are a one-stop business shop, which they can help you format your business to all the way to help you to expanding your business and to protect your business, because we already know finances is very important in business. So you can also visit the website above at www.ladykenterprisesinc.com. So today topic is called inheritance. And I'm pretty much saying you want to teach your kids to inherit good habits. And I am a firm believer that we can get over any and all humps that we went through, because we already know as adults, we go through so much. But what we don't realize, and we have to be very careful because of our life experience and what we have gone through, sometimes when we are in the home, we take out all that stuff on our children. And they are only that. They are children. So I am here to tell you today, this in the words of Michael Jackson, that you have to look at the man in the mirror. And I know it's hard, because sometimes when we're looking at other people, we can see their flaws, we can see what they're not great at. And sometimes when the mirror is not in front of your face, you can't see that. But when you do, at times, get in front of that mirror, you're like, oh, I look good. And that's because you're fully clothed. So you're looking out outer surfaces. But when you take all that off, when you take off the jewelry, the earrings, the clothes, and when you look at yourself in the mirror, you ask yourself, am I content with myself? Am I happy with myself? Are there some things I got to fix? These are the questions you have to ask yourself, especially when you want to give good inheritance to your children. And we think that our children are our property. They don't listen. Let me tell you something. They don't belong to us. They belong to him. They was given to us temporary, because you know why? He chose us to be their parent. And it is our job to groom them to adulthood, to teach them the correct teachings, to lead them the correct way, to leave them in abundance. That was our responsibility as a parent. So I'm here to ask you today, are you taking responsibility of you to put yourself in better and great position so you can leave an inheritance for your children? And I'm here to tell you today, I'm not talking about the monetary inheritance. I'm talking about the good characteristics, the good habits, the things that last forever when you have those type of traits. Again, as I said in the beginning, because we go through so many things, we carry. But I'm here to tell you today, I'm going to need you to evaluate yourself. Evaluate yourself. That's one. Evaluate yourself and ask yourself, do I like my home environment? Do my kids like their home environment? Do they like coming home to you every day? Do you like coming home to them every day? Because that matters too. And if the answer is no, then I'm here to help you today to see how we can transition that into a better environment for everybody's mental health, because mental health does matter. It really does. We don't understand that it goes a long way. And if we have to tackle some things, then we just have to tackle some things. So my first step to you is, right, I asked you, are you content with yourself, right? So because you're not content with yourself and you know your household is a mess, and it's up to you to change it. Because let me tell you something, nothing will change until you change. And then when you change, then you can change the things around you. Because a lot of us be hoping and praying that stuff change. But then I also understand too, a lot of people are not equipped and they don't know. And it's okay for you to ask for help. I know it's sad in this day and age. You are so afraid to open up your mouth and to ask for help because people judge you. I'm not here to judge you today. I'm not here to call you any names or any of that. I'm not here to just to tear you down. I'm here to uplift you and encourage you and to let you know you are not by yourself. And change can happen at any given moment when you're ready. So you showed up today, here today, and you're saying that, yes, Lady K, I am ready. So let's start. So like I said, everything starts with you first. So I'm going to help you. Excuse me, guys. I got the sniffles. And no, it's not Corona. I've been had that been passed, and I'm over it. It's just, a regular cold. So I hope you guys can hear me clear and I don't sound muffled and everything like that. So the first thing I want you to do, and I want you to get your pen and paper. I'm going to give you a few minutes to get your pen and paper, or if you're on your phone, go into your notes and write this down. I want you to ask yourself, what is the number one thing? Just name one, because we're going to take our time. The number one thing you feel like you need to change within yourself. Now, I'm just giving you an example because I experienced this. So, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people go through this. Controlling your anger. Whew, right? So you say, I want to have better control of my anger. And I know you're probably saying, but Lady K, the world be provoking me. And guess what? It's going to provoke you. And I have to say this too. Stop saying everything is the devil, because everything is not of the devil. I'm going to tell you what is the devil. The devil is when you give him credit for things he has no reason to be given credit for, because God has instilled in you and given you the power and authority to change things around. So when you do things like that, when you stay in good faith, and I'm not trying to say it's going to be easy and peasy, because it's not, because it's a challenge, because we all know anything that you want and that you desire is going to come with a challenge. It's not going to be easy, but you got to understand that's what's going to cultivate you into the person you are called to be. So again, let's go back to, you have that one challenge you are trying to work on. And in this case, I'm just mentioning that you're just trying to control your anger better, right? So now you got to ask yourself, what am I going to do on a daily basis to change that? And let me tell you something. When you want to challenge that, let's know. The Father, they said the teacher is always silent. So he's going to be quiet. And he's going to allow you to make decisions. But I also have to tell you too, make sure you intervene with him. That is very important, right? So you have that one thing that you're battling. So you got to take it to the Father first. Father, this is what I'm battling with, and I need your help. I need you to help me. So that may means he might put you in connection with the people that have the skills that can help you to get to that place you want to be. So You're saying you want to help with anger. You can say, hey, maybe I need to seek a therapist. And I do have to tell you this too. When you go that route of seeking a therapist, your therapist is not going to tell you what to do. They're going to give you guidance, and then they're going to give you options or what's available for you that you can take upon to help you. And then they can also be your accountability partner, because guess what? In anything that you want to do, you have to have someone that's going to hold you accountable. You just can't put things out there and no one is holding you accountable. That's not how you grow. You grow when someone else is in alignment with you, in alignment of what you want to do, and they're going to say, hey, that's not right. Hey, make that right instead of making that left. You need a partner. And I know sometimes, again, it's hard. So I say to you, if you do not have a friend or family that you can lean on and you have that therapist, great. But then we all know it takes a community effort. But if you do, if you have that therapist, if you have the right people, then absolutely go ahead and put yourself and surround yourself with those people, because you know they're going to pour into you, even if you need that prayer partner. And it's okay. You say, hey, Kalima, I don't believe in such and such. Listen, I don't care if you believe in Allah. I don't care if you call him Yahweh, Yeshua, whatever you want to call him. He is still God. And you can still have that direct line of communication with him, because that is what he is there for. He is your father. He said, come and seek me. Seek yourself into his bosom. He is going to provide you comfort. He is going to provide you help. He is going to show you the way. But you have to continue to seek, because you are tired of being sick and tired. And you know it starts with you first. So going back to that support, once you have that person that's going to help hold you accountable, once that person, you know, that's going to be your prayer partner, and you are going to write down the things that you know intentionally trigger you. So now you write down, okay, I have to stay away from this. And give you a perfect example. Say if you like to watch violent shows, you're going to say, you know what? I like those type of shows, but I'm going to cut it down to maybe once or twice a week. So you're giving yourself these baby steps, because you're cutting it down. And let me tell you something, your eager man is going to be tempted, damn, this is not enough. I need more. Because sometimes it might be hard just to completely shut it off. So this is why I'm telling you, give yourself the baby steps. Give yourself the baby steps. And as you're doing that, as you're challenging yourself, right, you can even have your kids come into play with this, right? You can say, you know what? Instead of me dedicating that hour to the TV, let me put emphasis on the child, right? So we tackle that one thing that you want to work on, and then you're allocating your energy elsewhere. What if this particular child may have, I was using as an example, may have a behavior issue, right? So this child has a behavior issue and you have your anger issues. And who knows, maybe there's a possibility the child has behavior issues because you have anger issues. So now you're kind of having a 2-in-1. You're trying to help this little baby. But what I want to tell you first is, you know, you have to tackle that child's issues different as well too. But this is something that can help the both of you guys, because remember, you are trying to leave good inheritance to your children. So I actually did this with my son, and I thought this was an amazing thing, and he turned out to love it. So one day I was cooking dinner, and I said, you know what? Would you like to help me? And this is my little one, guys. And you know, little ones, they always want help. So I said, come help mommy cook dinner. And he did. And I let him do certain things. And there was moments where he was getting a little bit messy. And I'm like, oh, Lord, he's making a mess, God. Blah. And I had to remind, listen, you can always clean this stuff later. This is his experience. Let him be. But at the same time, too, I was showing him the correct habits how to do stuff. And even though he made a mess, I said, it's okay. Now I know if you're that person that's like, with the anger, you're like, your anxiety is kicking in, you're gonna have to tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay. Because there's a solution for this after we're done. You see what I'm saying? You have to remind yourself there's a solution for this. You're not giving yourself choices. Stop holding on to things. You have to let go and putting certain things into practice, like that exercise. That's going to help you because it's going to cultivate you to say, hey, less is more. Yes, in that situation, less is more, because you redirected yourself into something that was challenging, and you're letting it calm down. You're learning how to. Now, I don't want to say the word suppress, but you're letting it calm, because you're not reacting. I hope that makes sense to you. So within this exercise that I did with my son, he ended up telling me, hey, Mom, I love this. Now you're saying, hey, Lady K, what if I have an older child? Listen, doesn't matter. Cooking, that is like the foundation of all family. When you're cooking for your loved one, you're demonstrating the love in the food. So it's always great to have someone to do something. You can say, hey, can you help Mom, grate the cheese, because, I really appreciate your help, or can you help Mom maybe season the meat, or let me show you how to do it, and it tastes good, right? And then when everything is said and done and you guys are eating, and someone says compliment, or you can be the first person to give the compliment. You're like, listen, this salad tastes so good. Or I'm so happy that you took your time and you prepared. See, when you give compliments, it changed the tone. And I have to say this, because I'm definitely a firm believer on this. Family time is table time. When you are at the table, that is open up and create space for everyone to talk about their day. So if you are having a busy day, if you are a busy entrepreneur, you're a busy 9-to-5, whatever the case may be, I say make it a habit and have dinner together. I'm going to be honest, when I was growing up, we barely had dinner sat down together. And I said, when I get older, I'm going to change that. So I let my kids sit down. It's so funny, the oldest one, who's in college, he'd be like, oh, do we have to? And he's been doing this for a while. And he says, and I told him, let me tell you something. When you get older, you're going to appreciate this. So parents, your kids may be fussing, but they may be appreciative when they get older, because sometimes they don't understand. But remember, these are valuable lessons. These are valuable things that you're contributing, because again, we want them to inherit good measures. Okay? So now that I mentioned, I'm going to recap. So now I said, you found something that you want to work on, right? Then you're seeking help. You have a support system. And then now you're trying to identify the triggers. So you identify the triggers, and then you also made a plan to say, hey, I'm going to spend less time doing this and more time doing that. And again, when you are lessening your time and you're finding other things to compensate for it, include your children. The more we include them, the more that they will develop great character and traits, because we are instilling these things, and because we want to give them the what? We want to leave an inheritance. And I know you're probably saying, Cleveland, that don't sound like an inheritance, but please believe me, stuff like this trickles down. There is a show on air. I don't watch TV as much, but I believe the show is called, I can't think of the show. I'm so sorry, guys. But it's based on the show that's based on the African-American community. And they based the show, I believe, in Martha's Vineyard. And they're showing these families who are come from a good finance standpoint. Is that what we look like? This is who we are. I'm sorry, guys, but it's going to come to mind. But they are a family of influence. And I was watching how they were sitting down and they was eating dinner together, right? And I believe there was a point where the mother was showing, there was a club for the young people, and she was showing them, what spoon and what fork and what knife to use. And I think honestly that's very imperative, because when you have to teach your kids when they go in different places and spaces, they need to know these things because people interact on different levels. So it is imperative for you to teach them how to interact on different levels. And you're probably saying, well, Lady K, here, I don't live in those type of places. I'm not around those type of people. Don't limit yourself. That's the problem with us. We limit ourselves. When you know that you can do any and all things and that God can put you in places that you never thought you could imagine, oh my gosh, you just never know. But again, I'm here to tell you today, all things are possible, and don't limit yourself, because when you see certain things on TV, or you might see a celebrity, and I'm just using it as an excuse, and it's not to idolize them, but it's also to say, hey, you know what? I want to get to that place in space. Look, I'm watching them on TV. I want that for myself. You can have that. You can be small, average Joe Small, and then next day you can be a multi-billionaire. And when you get to that level, at least hey, I was exposed. And I understand some people, they say, hey, wait a minute, that's not in my price range. But let me tell you something. You can pull up that poppy. Let me tell you something. The day that we live in, you can Google any and everything. So even if you took the time to go on Google and you show your kids certain things, you say, look, like perfect example, because my youngest, he's only 6 years old, he has a quiet of imagination. And sometimes when I'm explaining things to him, he's like, huh? So I say, hey, let's go to YouTube. One day we were talking about a bully situation. And let me tell you something, I think it's very imperative for parents to have these conversations with their children. The bully was bullying people at the school. This is in the video, right? But it come to find out that the bully was being bullied by his older brother. And I said, you see? I said, sometimes when people do certain things to us, it trickled down and we do it to other people. Sometimes we do it unknowingly, and the child was doing it unknowingly, but the older brother knew what he was doing. Now, I'm not going to go into the other, but I'm going to stay focused on the child, because what happened is if we don't take that child and we don't sit with them and we don't say, hey, it's not nice for you to do that, then they grow up to be adults and they carry this in because no one sat down with them and tackled them in that area. They enabled it. Whew. I'm here to tell you today, because a lot of people enable children and now there are adults, they are struggling with a lot of things, baby. I'm here to tell you, I see it all day, every day. That childhood trauma is real. If you do not surface it yourself, let me tell you something, it will come up in relationships. And then the person that you're in a relationship with, they'll be like, whoa, I'm not trying to say you're not a great person, but you got some issues, and this issue is interfering with our relationship. Very big on you tackling yourself, you dealing with some things in yourself. Like I said, my MJ said, I'm talking to the man in the mirror, because you want to make sure that you are growing. You are a firm believer that you can show in your children's eyes, hey, I struggle with this, and look where I transformed into. I know this is not a lot of people's story. Sometimes we have kids young. Sometimes we don't realize some of the things, the bad habits that we put on our kids. So our kids get to see us go through the transformation, and we're only human. But because you are watching me, and I'm pretty sure there are other materials that you can watch, if you do not have children, it is great that you can tackle these things before you bring that child into the world, because again, we want to give healthy habits to our babies. We want them to inherit healthy habits. Prime example for me, I used to be a size 18, guys, and I needed to do something about that. And I said, I have to take off this weight because it's too much and I don't like the way I look. And at the same time, too, it's not healthy. I cannot shove healthiness down my children's throat and I'm still doing crazy stuff. So they watched me transition go from a size 18 to a size 12. And I did it within a time because they show how they saw their mom change the cooking. You see what I'm saying? They saw me. They saw how I made my meals different. So I just hope that resonates with you. So I'm going to leave that right there. I don't want to put too much emphasis on it, but I just wanted to give you an idea. It is an example that anything and all things is possible. And again, it's all about what you want your kids to inherit, because sometimes, it is so easy for them to remember the bad. Like I had someone tell me personally, hey, growing up, I just remember my mom said, well, wait till your dad get home. And then they had to think about the thoughts of, dealing with their father because they didn't want to. And I'm like, I think we have to change a lot. We live in a new day and age, and we cannot bring what we was taught in here. And you have to also remember, and this is being realistic. I'm just being 100, guys. If you're my age and above, and I'm in my late 30s, I'm telling my age, possibility your parents and your grandparents, they come from a time of survival. So they taught you a lot of survival things. So now you got to unlearn all these things and relearn. But then again, you have to ask yourself, what hold value? What's the most important thing that hold value out of the things that they taught you? Because like I said, you don't want to bring the old into the new. You might say, this is the one good thing. There's nothing wrong with this. You might say, hey, my parents was married for 45, 50 years. And a lot of people say, oh, you don't see that these days. And there's a possibility because mommy had to stay home because at that time, the men went to work. And a lot of wives stayed home and they took care of all the kids and there was multiple children. But as you can see in this day and age, women are saying, hey, I'm a working woman. I'm a career woman. I'm not trying to stay home and stay in the household. And that's okay because that's your decision. But you can say, hey, I do want to see a healthy marriage. I do want to see 45, 50 years. You can say you want that, but you don't want it the way you saw it because maybe the way you saw it was unhealthy. So sometimes you can't say, oh, I want what my grandparents had. Grandma knew what grandpa was doing. Grandpa was laying it low, but she turned her face and decided not to acknowledge it. That is not something that you may not want. And I'm not here to bash nobody. There's so many things out there where people want to be in multiple relationships. Listen, I'm asking you, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But what I'm saying is, it's not cool that you're allowing a person to be deceptive in front of your eyes because y'all didn't have that communication. Communication is key. And then at the same time, too, you got to, again, this is all about the babies, what they're inheriting. What am I showing my kids? What type of relationship am I showing with, their father, their mother? What type of relationship am I showing with external family and how I handle? That's the key thing too, and how you handle situations. Because guess what? These kids have to grow up one day making a decisions, and you can't always be there to coddle them. They have to know these things. What good inheritance are you leaving them? What are you talking to them on a daily basis? And I have to say this to you because I once was she, and I'm not ashamed of myself. I remember at one point in time that I was spending time on the phone. Too much time on the phone, maybe an hour or two on the phone every day. Letting my children do whatever. And I said, hold on. My household is crazy. And not the physical household, but I'm talking about how the kids were behaving. It's crazy. They're acting crazy. What's wrong with them? They see I'm on the phone. Yes, they see you're on the phone and they want your attention. So I had to change some things. And some people may get offended when you change things that's better for you, but that's none of your business. And you don't have to explain yourself to anybody with the changes that you're making. Because let me tell you something, when you put yourself first and you love yourself and you know where you are going, you're on a mission, you don't have to explain that to anybody. They just need to see, hey, we are all adults and we're all striving to be better. That's all we want. We all want to strive to be better. But you got to ask yourself, what is important to you? And it should be important to you to leave a legacy for your kids. It should be important for you that your kids see, hey, mommy's making a change or daddy's making a change. It should be important for you to say, hey, I acknowledge you. I see you. Let me spend time with you. We, as women, we wear multiple hats. And I'm not knocking them because I know there are some amazing men out there. But when it comes to moms, we are so different. And I know we are tired and we be exhausted. And I know you want your me time. And let me tell you something, me time is very important. But I also have to say this too. When you give that time to your child, and I'm about to close, guys, soon. I'm not going to hold you no more because I think we tackle enough. If you give that child time, and then you go and give time to yourself, whether it's 10, 15, 30 minutes, that is everything. Because you have did your job. You're pouring into your children. And whatever that times look like, that's between you and the children. So whatever, if it's TV time, maybe you guys like to watch the news together. Maybe you guys like to watch Jeopardy together. Maybe you guys like to watch Wheel of Fortune together. Maybe you guys like watching Family Feud together. Maybe you guys like playing Uno. Maybe you guys like playing Tic-Tac-Toe. Or maybe you guys like playing Scrabble. You see what I'm saying? You can do these things at different times. What if you say, hey, I'm going to take anywhere from a half an hour to an hour and dedicate to my kids? But we're going to do this one day. We're going to do that another day. You see what I'm saying? You break it up. It doesn't have to be all shoved in. People say, oh, I don't have 30 minutes. Yes, you do. That same 30 minutes that you're giving the TV, that's not teaching you anything. You pour that into your goods because remember, we are leaving a good inheritance to our babies. So everyone, I thank you for joining me today. I hope everything that you heard, that you got some type of nuggets that is going to help you move and grow and change some things in your household. So guys, I will see you here again next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like it, share. Tell us what you like about today's episode. God bless everybody, and I'll see you next week.